Bingo. No lozenges or nothing. It's throat. And good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to The Natural Way. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today is another day in the life of the Holistic Health Service with Dr. Nathan Rabb Jr. And as usual, I'll share this so you'll know there are places that you can check this out, and that's Facebook and YouTube. And you can do that, at any time. If you don't have an opportunity to do it live, you can do it on Memorex. You can do it later. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another day in the life of the Holistic Health Service. We have been working this for in excess of 40 years. I don't know the exact amount, probably 43 or 44 at this point. And we did it in several different places. But it was all a journey into what we are into now, and that's working with people to assist them in overcoming maladies. And, a lot of things get in our way when we are moving along this continuum of life. Sometimes we bring them on to ourselves, other times accidents happen. But there are ways to deal with all of those issues. And what we really want to do is just talk about these things and share some knowledge for those who don't have that knowledge already and that would like to, make some major changes in their own lives. It's really a blessing when, one who may have started down a road of a problem and they find out, or sometimes, a person will make the change on their own and maybe just accidentally, run up on it, or they decide, they get tired of going through something and they decide to read a book, or they have a friend, they run into a friend who's doing these things and they get involved that way. So there's various ways of coming into grips with this. And it's always a good idea to look at, working on your health. If you put in a lot of the wrong things in your body, you're going to have problems. And if you don't periodically do things to flush all the bad stuff out, then it just builds up. I mean, that makes logical sense. But, a lot of us, we don't think about that. We just think about the next meal or the next, bad food that I'm going to eat. And so that's the path we follow. But it's so much better when you get a grip on things and start looking at periodically cleansing the system. It's gonna bode you much better. If it's clogged up with a lot of stuff storing up and the body gets to where it's become sluggish, the fluids can't flow, and then this is when we have a lot of problems. And usually most people at that point go to the pharmacy or they go to their doctor and they start getting more involved in pharmaceuticals, pills and whatever, to correct these things. And yet they continue doing the same things that is causing the problem. See, if you don't do something about the cause of a situation, then it's not going to change. You want to make sure that, okay, this is what's bringing this on. So let me find out what I need to do to short circuit it, to get it to going back in the other direction. And it's not the hardest thing to do. It's just that so often we don't do that because we have other things that we are following, or things that we are doing that we like so much. So We don't have time to clean up. Well, it would make a lot better sense and a lot, you'd have a lot less troubles if periodically you learn how to detox your body. We have programs here at the Holistic Health Service where people come and get a package and go through a cleansing. And we never tell them we're treating your disease. We don't treat diseases. We work with people. And people who are doing what they are supposed to do usually come out with, the right answers and the right, you know, whatever they need to find, they find it. Put it that way. So that's why it's so important to learn about natural medicine. Natural medicine was here before any medicine was here. It started way, 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 way back. But man got in at latest time and started with all of the chemicals and whatever. And now we have all kinds of things going on. But the natural way is still the best way. Now, if there's some emergencies where, surgery is warranted and things of that nature, we're not talking about that. We're talking about someone who over a period of time has just ingested all of the wrong stuff and never took time to do a cleanse of the body, and things just build up, build up, build up, and then things stop, swelling up, or it stop working. You get clogged up inside. All of that it comes when we are not taking proper care of our health. So there are things that one needs to do. If we call them cleanses. It's a detox, cleanse. Those are things that you do to assist your body into staying healthy as long as it can. We want to be around a long period of time, but I don't think anyone just wants to be ill and bedridden. So let's start practicing those things. Start doing the things that will make you better and build you up versus, tearing you down. And there are many people who are doing it to themselves. They say, I eat what I want and drink when I dry and all that kind of stuff. I don't get killed. I live till I die, or some jargon like that. But common sense says you have a body, you should treat it as such if you want to stay with it. Because if you mistreat it, then it will give you up. So let us, really open up our minds and hearts and whatever, and start looking at how your body can improve itself and how you can be better, and avoid a lot of things that so many people are now, encountered with. So it's up to the individual. Anyone can, not everyone will. It would be better if you did. So don't forget Facebook and YouTube. You can see both of those and playbacks, and it's all, the courtesy of Dr. Nathan Reb. We're putting things out there, and if you don't always get to see them on the first run, then that's what you can always go back and look. You can pick up some of the same information. If you're seeking knowledge, there's places where you can get it. I'm just one person that's involved in sharing knowledge. There are lots of people that are doing this, and take heed to these things and set up for yourself a plan to take care of your body. Because if you don't take care of it, then somebody else will, or something else will. But if you want to be healthy, you must have healthy habits. You can't do everything wrong and expect everything right to come into your life. It doesn't work like that. Garbage in, garbage out. So learn how to eat to live. instead of living to eat. So many people are living to eat because they eat the same. They eat what they like. They don't eat what likes them. They don't eat what the body needs. They just eat what they like. I like this, I like that, and they put that in their body. And over a period of time, things happen. Some of it is obesity, some of it is illness, some of it is clogged things clogged up inside. This isn't working right, that isn't working right. And see, we have a lot of things going on in our body. Your body is fearfully and wonderfully made. Yet there's a lot of us that treat it like a garbage disposal. We just throw anything in there. Well, it's best not to do that. It's best to put healthy things into your body, and you can have a healthy life. It's by being healthy, and you learn how to do that by, if you don't know already, you listen to folks who are teaching it, or get some books. There are books out there that can tell you all sorts of things if you are interested in learning them. And that's the thing that really has to happen. You must get a feeling for it. You say, I want to be healthy. So where do I start? Well, it starts with finding some books that talk about food combining, that talk about detoxing the body. It talk about a lot of things, how to avoid certain things that's going to damage your microbiome and your body, at which a lot of people are going through that. So there are ways to be very healthy if you want to be. If you want to be sick, you can be sick. That's your choice, if that's what you want to do. But I don't think anyone wants to be. But it's the habits that we've created over the years, and we've gotten so caught up in it, we don't want to let it go. Something that we like so much, even though it's going against us, we still want to do it. So though that type of mindset will lead you into destruction. So, try as hard as you can. Just put up an effort to do this periodically. Go on a cleanse. And we call them, you can call it a detox, you can call it cleanse, because I see them called various things. The idea is the body over a period of time will build up things if you are not, putting all the right things in your system. And if you're putting a lot of junk in, or you're eating a lot of things that don't go together, then that's what you're doing. You're setting the stage for uh, injury and sickness and all sorts of things that you don't want. You want to have life and have it more abundantly. I would think you should, but in order for that to happen, we have to make it happen. We have to set the stage for it. If you need to study somebody else, do that, or whatever you need to do to open up your mind to paying more attention to your body, do it. Because if you don't, then you're going to spend a lot of time in the doctor's office. You're going to spend a lot of time with pharmaceuticals, all of those things that happen when one is negligent to their own body. If you came into this world healthy, and you still have some health, but you're deriding it because you are not taking proper care of it, eventually it's going to give you up. And so, plant-based foods, we need a lot of plant-based materials. We need to back away from a lot of these animal products. And, sure, if you want to have a little bit, fine, but make sure you're putting it with other things that it goes with, not just throwing everything together. And this is where a lot of the problems come from. A lot of start is from, you know, uh, poor food combining. There's a knack to it. There's a art to proper food combining. There are certain things that go together and do it well. There are others that don't. But it's amazing how so many of us, we don't have a clue as to what is what. And it's a lot better, if you learn these things, at an early age. Maybe you have parents who teach it to you. It's so, but still, if even if you don't have that growing up and you're just eating this and everything, and somewhere along the line, just take it upon yourself to say, well, I want to know more about this because I see a lot of sick people. I see people going to the doctors, to the hospital, using a lot of pharmaceuticals. How do I avoid that? Well, you avoid it by making sure that you're putting the healthy stuff in your body, which means you're not having to continue to, go get your so-called medicine, because that's what a lot of our folks are doing. They just, I mean, they have stuff they take all the time, and some I've seen bags, just full of drugs that someone had, and they had, their doctor issued it to them, and somebody, anytime someone is swallowing 18 drugs in a day, and the way the person told to me, well, they did it, they cupped it in a hand and put it all in at one time. Now, a baby should know better than that, but of course the baby wouldn't know because the baby shouldn't have his hand on those anyway. But a lot of our seniors and people who are out here, going through all of these things, they're doing the same thing. They're just like the baby. The baby doesn't know any better, but an adult should have some knowledge, learn something about yourself, so at least you can have some issue with yourself, something that you can do and not have to depend on everyone when you have a pain somewhere, or I got to go to the doctor. See, there's ways to help yourself. If you're not going to do that, you will continue to seek out somebody else's help, and you don't know if they're giving you the right things or not. There are some folks out there who are doing what they should, and there's some that are just doing what they want to do, or they have a different agenda. And we as patrons, going to these folks, you have to also look out for yourself. Don't get caught up in that, well, my doctor knows everything and I don't need to know it, because that would be a big mistake. You need to know something about yourself so that you can tell when you are being overcharged with some kind of uh, you know products that's coming from man instead of it come from the God's garden. And this is what we do. We get a lot of things happening within our bodies because of consistently putting in things that we like rather than things that should be going in to create health and not to continue to bring on dis-ease. It's very easy to get caught up in this, certain things you like. Folks like to fry their meat. They like to, eat meat and bread together and eat meat and other starches and things together, things that should never go together. It should not, they don't digest together, so why you put them in there together? And then it sits in your stomach for a long period of time. So it's a lot of problems with, eating certain things together. But there are things that go together, great, that have no issues. And, if you get more engaged in the plant kingdom, with fruits and nuts and things like that healthy things, then you'll have a better life. The life that the life that you love would be the life that you have. But if you're doing the wrong things and thinking you're going to get the right results, there's something wrong with that particular thought. So Let's talk about eating to live instead of living to eat. That's the first thing we need to think about. Say, I'm eating because I need to put things in my body that nourishes me, that something, but it has to have some energy. If there's no energy, there's no synergy. If there's no energy, there's no life. If it's dead, it's dead. And if you keep eating dead food, somewhere along the line, you never know. It might be a long time, might be a short time. But if you continue to put things in your body that are going against the body, causing different problems, swollen areas in the body, things pumping up, all kinds of stuff that's happening to people, and they're going to the doctor. They're going to the doctor to find out, what's wrong. They don't know a clue about themselves, but they find somebody and they say, "I'm gonna find me a good doctor." Well, that was one of the doctors that said that he was looking for some good patients, and and that's a good thing because if you have someone who's listening and you share with them, when they show up and they ask for help, and you let them know, okay, this is how you can address this problem. The body is overwrought with waste. Things have started to back up and clog up, and so now we got to get you into a program of detoxing the body. This means we got to get the toxic waste out. And so there are ways to do that. There are plants out there that are just masters at helping you to get that kind of garbage out of your body. Also, there's fruits. There are numerous things, but we love to talk about this fried meat that we do and all of these different fleshes that we're eating, and we're not doing a lot of the other things, or yet we're trying to eat the wrong things at the same time, like starches and things of that nature in a area where you have some animal flesh in there and you're eating that, and you doing it, you even using bread or you using something. Those don't go together. In other words, they don't digest together. So the longer we do those things, the longer and the further down the road we're going with our health not being healthy. Yeah, that is as true as it can come. When you keep putting the wrong things in your body, you're creating something that you're going to find it really staring you right in the face at some points in time, and you probably won't have a clue as to what's going on. When people come in and they talk about, they have this problem and that problem, and you just ask, say, well, what have you done about this? Have you done some cleansing? Have you changed your diet? Most of the time, it's like, you get looked at almost like you crazy. And knowledge is a powerful thing, if you have the knowledge and you use it. But if you don't use it, it doesn't mean anything. You can be full of knowledge and still doing all the wrong things. But when the body starts clogging, your fluid surfaces, your fluid, things get clogged up. We get various issues in there. We get blood pressure issues. We get all kinds of various issues that because you don't have a free flow of blood or lymphatic fluid, moving through the body. If those things must be able to move because they help to bring about the whole of the body healing itself. And they also are there to help usher some of the waste out of the body. Otherwise, it would just keep piling up. You said, you have somebody that said, "Well, I got a lump over here and I got a lump over there." Well, that lump is there because its path to get out of there and do its thing the way it's supposed to was clogged. It was blocked. So now what you have is you have a lump growing, and that lump is growing because there was no open door for the waste to leave. So this is why periodically we need to just, put the forks and knives down and get a good blender and some good leafy greens and some blueberries, blackberries, and raspberries, and a little piece of lemon. Uh, you know, in some cases you can have a little slice of banana, but you start making that into a breakfast for you that will not clog your system up, and it will help you to clean up. And by all means, that first hour or that first meal you do should be a liquid one anyway. So learn about superfoods and how you can have a wonderful breakfast in the morning with some superfood, and it's all going to be liquid. It's not going to be anything that's going to go in and stop, because that's what it happens. That's what happens when you start putting a lot of solid things in your body first thing in the morning, because you're blocking the body's ability to move waste out. And it starts that at your cycle of the body rather starts at 8. No, it starts at 4 a.m. And so from 4 a.m. to 12 noon, you need to be doing liquids, superfoods, things that can just move through the body and give you the energy you need, and then send that energy up the limbic arc, up the limbic brain, and send it into the subconscious and then into the conscious mind, and then out into the body as energy. We all want some energy. Otherwise, you have people that are bedridden. They can't do this. They can't move. They would like to be healthy, but they didn't know how. They kept going with the pharmaceuticals or whatever until they got to the place where they just couldn't do nothing or anything. And this is when we allow someone else to do everything and we don't study to show ourselves approved, and that my body is my responsibility, and I need to learn how to take care of it. I need to learn when it says ouch, I need to understand what I need to do, and it's not go get another pill. So there are steps to being healthy, and there are books. Say books all over the place that you can go to any of these health food stores and find good books that you can read to get you some kind of knowledge about yourself, because a person who is ignorant to all of those things that the body needs, and don't know anything about it, you're sabotaging your own life, because if you don't do it, if you don't take care of yourself, who else will? And everybody is I'm looking for a good doctor. I'm looking for that. And you see the doctor years ago, he had a flashlight and he was bent over, had the flashlight in front of him, and he said he was looking for some good patients. And that's, I've seen that same thing. You know, people, they say nice things about you if they know about you, or if they've been and already had some use of your services, and you did good for them. But the idea is to pass it on to the person, and not just you keep going back to the person who you learned something good from. I mean, it's okay to do it at some time, but it shouldn't be a lifestyle and their everyday life. Well, I got to go over here. I got to go to this. I got to go to this because I don't know. I can't seem to get it into my head how to do these things. So I got to find somebody that I can lean on. And see, I have no problem sharing knowledge with folks. That was one of the reasons for doing what I do. But I also like to see you know, the person change for the better. You know, it's just a good feeling when you know, okay, you counsel someone, you gave them some knowledge, you put them on a path, and next time you see them, maybe 6 months, a year later, and they back to do some more positive things because you know everybody can slip a little bit, but we need to also have that ability to make the changes when they're necessary. And they're, you know, doing a year's time, there's opportunities to do cleanses. A good cleanse could be as much as a month, and then some might go even longer than that. I've had people to do a cleanse for up to 6 months, but that was because they had a situation that they wanted to remedy. And when you have a large a large remedy, a large situation, and it's going to take longer than 3 days to get rid of the problem. And this is often, you know, the thing that I would hear. How long do I have to do this? I said, how long do you want to do it? You should want to do it until when your body is cleaned up, and then six months later, 6 weeks or whatever, do it again. You know, make it a habit of being detoxing your body. It's not something you just do once. You find out, oh, I'm sick, so let me do this, and then I'll go right back to what I was doing. And that's really how the rabbit runs. And so often in our society, we we'll do something once, and if we get better, then we find ourselves right back where we started. Well, it's better to if you get a good, you know, a good cleanse going, and you're feeling great and all of that. You know, sure, there's some things that you can get back to, but make sure you understand proper food combining and all of that. Then you can have some of these things that you like. But if we're just hung up on meat and potatoes, I got to have my meat and bread, and we're doing all of the things we're doing is setting the stage for more disease. And anyone who wants to be sick, there's a problem going on somewhere upstairs, because no one should want to be sick. You know, you should want to be healthy, because if you are healthy, then not only can you look out for yourself, you can even share some knowledge with others. If there are some people that are seeking, they just don't know it. They're looking for a way to break the habit of being sick and tired all the time. And there's definitely a way to do it. But it's not going to happen if you don't put some effort into it. There's the E for effort. You've heard about that? E for effort. Yeah, it's just like when you start we have a program called a general cleanse. The general cleanse is because it cleanses the body. It's not going in and picking on this and that, and we're just going to touch this and we ain't going to do that. No, the general cleanse is general. It works on the body, and we do it in stages. And so the first part of it, we start with basically we're dealing more with the colon and the gut, the stomach, those areas, because that's usually where we get a lot of stuff backing up for people who are eating all the wrong things, and they get a lot of it clogged up in there, and you know, they get stomachs puffed out, and sometimes the back end puffed out, and you know, we just kind of get too much stuff going on in our body. We need some of it out. And so at that point, if we have the knowledge to, you know, do a detox, then they can rid the body of that. That first 2 weeks, you're just working on the bowel, the microbiome. You're working on getting that part of the body cleaned up so that the waste that's upstairs, you know, in the upper part of your body, can now it can flow out and you put some more things in there to help it to flow, and then the body eventually will clear up. Everything will get better. It's not an overnight thing. It's not an overnight thing, but anyone can do it. But a lot of people won't do it. Why? Because they're too busy putting stuff in that are clogging up the body. And you can't do both at the same time. You can clean up and but if you go right back and say mess up, then that's not a good way. That's not a good way to go. If you have a good cleansing program and you do it and you're feeling better, then periodically you do it again. And the main thing is when you find out something that can assist you in having a better quality of life, why do something to mess it up? If you say, well, I did this and this worked well for me, and okay, so if it was a plant-based problem, a plant-based product, some plant-based food, then give it a good going over. If it's helped you, stay. You need to do that more than putting things in there that made you sick. But we have folks that they just think that if they don't eat certain things, they won't make it. I got to have this, and I got to have this, and that's what sets us in problematic areas, because we talk about what we can't live without. You can live without a lot of things, especially when when you're putting things in your body that all they're doing is satisfying your taste buds, but they're not doing anything for your body to help it stay in a prone state. Is you find yourself lying down more than standing up. And there are many people in our society that are bedridden, and that's because they've eaten themselves into a state that they just can't. The limbs are weak or swollen, or there's a lot of things. We every day we hear things from people, calling about this pain and this lump and that lump, and all of these things happen because we fail to do the cleansing that's needed periodically. You can't just eat what you want and do it every day and keep doing it, keep doing it, and all of a sudden something happens and you're looking for somebody to tell you how to fix it. Or better yet, they're looking for somebody to fix it. They don't want you to tell them how. They want to just fix me. Well, you are your own best customer. And if you love yourself enough, then you should love yourself enough to take care of your body. Because the body, you get one, you don't get one and destroy it and then you get another one. It doesn't work like that. So take care of the one that you have, and you could have it for however long. There are folks who have a lot of centurions, then there are a lot of that leave at very early ages. But it has to do with the things that you know about and do about that have to do with your body. Because your body is your temple. And if you don't treat it right, then it's going to come crashing down. So it's not to spread gloom and doom and all that. I'm just telling you what it is, how you can help yourself. Learn about natural, eating natural, healthy foods. And if you want to have a little bit of animal flesh here and there, that's one thing. But if it's something that you think you got to have every day, and you eating it with starches and breads and things that don't digest together, you're creating your own hell, really. or you're creating a sickness, which would be maybe a better word. You're creating malnutrition. And so getting acquainted with natural medicine was one of the best things that I've ever done. And growing up in Jenkinsville years ago, we had a lot of foods that we grew in the gardens and in the fields, and we had animals. We had all of that. And I ate it just right along with everybody else. But my mother and father both lived into their 90s. So, and they worked hard. And while I was there, I worked hard too, because everybody had to work. But it was always, some positive things going on. Reading the Bible to you. My dad was a minister. My mother was a missionary. And so a lot of the teaching, she would grow plants in the garden. And so none of them had GMO, because they didn't even know what GMO was. Everything they did, sometimes they would right out of the stables, the manure from the mules and from the cows. They would take that, put that on a wagon and drive it out in the field, and just take a pitchfork and pitching it off, just fertilizing the field. Those are the kinds of things that I don't know if anybody's doing that anywhere now, maybe, but that's what used to go along then. The people were doing a lot of things at that time to make their soil, more able to create what they wanted, because you couldn't just plow, put the same thing out there every day and don't put some fertilizer out there. And that's what they were using, at the animal fertilizer. The animals were eating grain, and they would clean that up and get it on the wagon and drive out in the field and pitchfork it over, just putting it all over the ground. And that was being done so that the earth would be replenished. It wasn't, they weren't just sucking everything out of the earth, and then you got to go look for another field or two to know that those fields they got those manures and things that happened every year. When the plant, that harvesting season was over, then they would the getting it ready for the next harvest. So it's a lot of things that happened back in the day, and I learned a lot then, because I was back there at some of that time. I started a little early in life, but it was a good lesson, when just to do those things. And I will admit that at the time I wasn't very happy about all that, but it was work, and I was part of the family, and I had to work like everybody else. Every now and then I try to sneak away to go play with my friends, because I say, well, they playing baseball and I'm working. But I was allowed to play some also. It's just you had to do it at the right time. You couldn't, when everybody else is working, you can't be out playing. But and I learned my lessons, because once or twice I had a little paddling coming because of sneaking off and not doing what I was supposed to do. But I'm glad that I had parents that were, strict. Not so strict till you say, oh, your parents are mean. No, 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 don't ever think that. I had some beautiful parents. I had some very loving parents, and they loved me. I loved them. It's just that in the early days of your youth, you don't always appreciate people as much. It's as you get a little older, you start to appreciate them a lot more, because you think about what they did for you, and what they're taking care of you and encouraging you or whatever. And look where you got to some places that you probably wouldn't have if you'd have just stayed, been a wild child, because we all have that opportunity. When I went in the military, I was, wow, I'm on my own. I can do whatever I want to, yada, yada, yada. And it took me a few years to learn that, okay, that's not the best thing for you, though. So you change. You start looking back at the people who brought you here and what they did for you and the things they taught you. All of that is just, I mean, it's one of the greatest things that can happen if you would listen. But, there are people that didn't listen to their parents. They just, you know, talk back and do all kind of stuff. That wasn't allowed where I grew up. You didn't talk back to anybody. Not it could be somebody from down the road. If it was an adult person and you a child, no, that wouldn't happen because my parents would have tanned my hide if I had done something like that. But being courteous, and we did a lot of going to church. My dad was a minister. It was a life that it set the stage for me to be where I am and doing what I am at this point. Even though there was some rocky things going on early on in life, but I got away from home, joined the Navy, and I got a little while, then got out of the Navy and still was a little while, but God saved me. My parents, I'm sure they were praying for me because they knew that I had a little bit of that wildness in me. But it left. It got to the point where my interest was in learning all I could learn about how I take care of my body and how I can help other people. Because I started meeting some folks who were doing these things, natural medicine, not pharmaceuticals. It was natural, and it was just a joy as I was learning these things. And you start, making these poultices on, making the teas and seeing how it clears up things. It was just fascinating. It really was. It was fascinating, and to this day, I enjoy what I do. I've never turned against it. Never stopped. I had to slow down a little bit because of some of the eye stuff that I went through, but everything is on the right track at this time, and I'm looking forward to being able to operate my vehicle like I used to. But you have to be able to see things in order to drive. You can't be out there not being able to see and say, well, I'm driving blind. That doesn't work. You can't do it like that. But it's time brings about changes. And so I'm in the midst of my changes at this point. It's not all done, but it's on its way. And God willing, and the creek don't rise, things are going to be at a point where I can move around as I used to. It was it was like a blessing. The people that I met, going throughout the United States and out of the country. It was the people I met and those who invited me back. And, not everyone invites you back, but for whatever reason. But there were some that just said, no, we want you to come back at such time. And they'd send me a ticket. And I hopped lots of airplanes, went a lot of places. So I had a real good time of moving around, sharing knowledge, learning more by going to other seminars that where teachers were sharing. And then you get to the point where you start sharing what you have learned. You learn it and then you teach it. So that is really a lot of what my life is about, because I've been into this holistic health world for 40 something years. I'm not even sure. I'd have to go back and count the 40 what, but I know it's 40. 42, 43, somewhere in there. And God willing, I will I will continue on for some time. There are more people out there that want and need help, and a lot of them pass through this place. They come, they come this way. And so my goal is to do the best that I can for them when they show up or when they call, because some will call from far places and they will order something and you package it up and send it to them. So it's a great life because number one, it's something, it shows that you care. Number one, you care about yourself, and then next to that, you care about others. And when someone shows up at the door and they have a problem, you hold a conversation with them and you find out, okay, what their main issues are. What are you doing to remedy this? What have do you have anything going on? Have you been diagnosed with anything? All those things, because, and it's not that you're just trying to be nosy or whatever, but when you get them, when you get the right ingredients together and you get a person who's willing to follow the plan and do what you say, they can't help but get better. I mean, it's in the cards already. They will get better. But it's those who will start and stop. And they talk about, I don't like the taste, things that don't even matter. That's when the failures set in. But I don't accept it on me as a failure. If I give you the right knowledge to overcome whatever it is you're supposed to be overcoming, and if you follow it, you'll see the difference. But if you don't, it's not something that just going to automatically happen. There are many people who have started things and stopped for whatever reason. I don't like that. I can't eat what I want to eat. All of those things that come into the picture, and all of that is what when we have so many people now that are ill, bedridden, with so many people being diagnosed with cancer. Cancer is not a death sentence; it's a wake-up call. But if we don't put the right things in there, then it can't wake up. If you get into a good detox for your body to get all the garbage out, then the body has a chance to heal itself. The body is self-healing. It can't do it if you don't give it what it needs. It can't. It can't do that. So it's not anybody's fault that we end up with with these so-called diseases. It's the person that's living within that shell, within that body, and their habits. That's what created the problem for them. Now, there's sometimes be an accident or something. A person can go through an accident and have a problem. But there are a lot of folks that incidents create their issues because they're putting all the wrong things in their body. They're not taking proper care of their health. And then you're looking for someone else to fix you. Don't do that. Learn how to fix yourself. There are books that you can get from any health food store, uh, places like that where you can start reading and learning some things, learning about this and learning about that, and what food combining. And food combining is very, very important because you put the certain things together, they don't digest together, then it's going to create a problem in the long run. So we need to know the difference between, this and that and the other. Those are the things that we do to ensure that we don't create more problems by trying to do something in a hurry. Because there are folks who, they'll grab some something from a pharmacy or whatever and just start popping some pills down, then that's supposed to take care of everything. But no, no, because you're not addressing the body. You're just throwing something in there to try to short circuit the problem. But if you go through a good cleansing program, a detox program, if you do that, you'll see what can happen for your body. And don't be in a hurry, because what you have gotten into your body didn't happen overnight. You're not going to get rid of it overnight. Be patient and work, and watch the body heal. The body is the greatest healer there is. But if the body has somebody who's in charge of it, and it's not following the plan, then it's not going to happen. So keep that in mind, because the life you save may be your own. But there's things out there that can help you naturally, plant-based, that can help you to change your life for the better. And it's not going to happen overnight. So stop thinking that, well, all I got to do this is for a couple of days. No, you have to sit, slow yourself down and start making a serious effort to get better. And if you do that, it can happen. But if you don't, it won't. So we're getting a little close to the hour, and okay, we're getting a little close to the hour, so we're gonna give you a break and just welcome you back next week, because we'll be back to share more with you. It's all about teaching one and reaching one, and sharing knowledge with people so that they can have a better quality of life. We can make better choices, and all of that is what will help us to have better lives, longer lives, happier lives. And that's what we all want. We want life, and then life more abundantly. We'll see you next week, same time, same station. Don't forget Facebook, YouTube, Dr. Nathan Rabb. You can see all of these programs. You can see them over and over and over. Peace and love, everybody. Peace and love.